Welcome back, ladies and gents, as we head into Game 7 for the Garena Premier League 2017 Summer Group Stage, of course. Once again, before we go into anything else, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. We're going to be your casters, Arctic at You, Service Fam, and of course, with me is Neep. And man, oh man, after all said and done with Manila Eagles actually falling to the hands of the Indonesian team, I mean, what can you say about that? But I guess before I get your insights on that, we'll head it straight into the drafting, though.
I mean, it's going to be hard for TME. They need to bounce back immediately as every single game counts, and KLH have been looking extremely strong so far. So let's take a look at the pick and ban. We do see TME is now on the blue side. They have banned away the Rek'Sai, Gragas, and the Galio. On the other hand, KLH has banned out the Zac, Cho'Gath, and Maokai and Jarvan. I was thinking of that. Jarvan is one of the highest contested picks between these two teams. Both Koops, Shiro, and Caspiel really like this Jarvan, and it has been taken away.
Yeah, we'll just have to see, though. I mean, after the performance earlier, I mean, one of the tricky parts here about Team Manila Eagles is I find them pretty solid, but I feel like as far as strategy, they haven't really expanded their wingspan just as much. Possibly not necessarily because of the flexibility of the other teams, but maybe because, I mean, like we mentioned, Coops, this is technically very much within his element, within his meta. But then again, there are certain limitations to that when you're only focused on those type of roles. But then again, of course, we'll just have to see whether or not Manila Eagles can make those adjustments. But Sejuani, though.
Yeah, Sejuani, pretty good pick. That will be the Sejuani jungle for Caspiel. Braum is a good pick as well. So this does kind of contest the Thresh pick coming in from Rocks. All the AD carries are open, all the high priority carries, that is going to be the Tristana, the Saya, and the Kalista, all open. So I'm expecting those to be picked right now in this rotation. If I were TME, I'd probably be looking for the, I don't know, maybe the Tristana, maybe. We'll have to see what they decide to do, but support and AD carry seems like the way to go.
Ooh, there we go. Looks like the John are going to be locked in for Rocks right there. As to what they'll be pairing that with, potentially a Kalista maybe, or let's see if they're going to be opting to get an AD carry for Marky, though, within this first rotation before heading into that second banning phase.
See, indeed. And I have a feeling that Becky is going to be looking to go on this Tristana once again. So if TME doesn't take it, then KLH will. But they will instead go for that Corki pick for Trevor. Very high priority pick. But again, that does leave the Lucian open. So another option is KLH can just immediately respond to this Corki pick with that Lucian pickup, or instead they could take that Rumble away from JLC. That will be the top lane Rumble for Shiro, one of his better champions. So really good pickups for KLH, and that leaves the AD carries still not yet taken in this rotation. So I'm assuming a couple AD carry bans to be here during the next wave of banning.
Potentially, indeed. We'll just have to see. As very interesting, though. I wonder if they will be focusing on those AD carry bans for either TME or KLH, but looking at what hasn't been picked out here for TME, we're yet to see top pick and AD carry, while for KLH also, well, actually AD carry and mid for KLH.
Yeah. And we do see AD carries being banned out. That's going to be the Twitch, Tristana, and two more picks. So Kalista open, Saya open. It's going to be the Kog'Maw ban. So Marky hasn't gotten his hands on this Kog'Maw just yet. A lot of teams have been banning it against TME, so something maybe he's been picking up between the PGS and now, who knows. And that does leave both the Kalista and the Saya open. So if that doesn't get banned away, I'm expecting those AD carries to be most likely picked up.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we'll just have to see. 2 seconds left on the clock. 1 second. What will be the last ban for Team ED? It is going to be the Orianna away from our hedge.
Yeah, so Orianna banned away. So we've seen that time and time again. Every time TME does pick this Corki, they do not like to play against Orianna. It's always been banned in that second rotation. And it will be the Kalista for Becky. Kalista Braum, pretty solid bot lane combo, but it is against the Janna. Janna does make this laning phase a bit more easier, and it will be the Saya paired up with him. So just like we said, if they're not banned, it's going to be the Saya Kalista. And yeah.
We'll just have to lock in indeed. Looks like we are going to be seeing one of Marky's more prominent picks in his own local scene in the Philippines. Probably known as one of the best Sayas in the Philippines. We'll just have to see whether or not that actually translates on the Southeast Asian stage for him.
And I guess you take the Shen if you were TME. The Shen versus Rumble matchup is a bit delicate, so I'm not sure if TME will favor that. It will actually be the Scion.
Oh.
That's something you don't really see at all. And one of JLC's pocket picks won't be one of those hyper carried pocket picks in the top lane, but instead a tank. And we haven't really seen JLC play Scion that much, or Scion in general, really, in the competitive scene.
Quite surprising indeed. So, you know, just one of those things that TME might have prepared, as they really do need to start performing, as with 2 losses definitely sets them back a bit, and they don't want to incur any more losses, which could ultimately make them lose out on their chance to proceed to the next stage.
It's going to be the Aurelion Soul. Okay, so I had my hopes. I kind of got a bit excited because I saw the Rumble on the support position, and KLH did pick Rumble support in the finals of their respective region in TLC. So I was thinking, wait, Rumble support? But then I realized they still have that Braum, so no Rumble support. But yeah, interesting picks all around. It's going to be the Aurelion Soul, something you really don't see that much. You kind of see as a pocket pick. I know Hui from CLG is very famous for that pick, and the Scion on TME side. So 2 new interesting picks, something we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, we'll just have to see again. You know, a lot of interesting picks going into this game here. But then again, this is very interesting, as KLH probably one of the clear top contenders right now after having beat out Young Generation compared to the rest of the teams that actually struggled against them.
Yeah.
So, and then for MLE, of course, the Manila Eagles, we'll just have to see if that ultimately works out for them as to whether or not they could pull off a win, because KLH looking very, very strong with Becky on their squad now.
Yeah, and it's going to be the battle of the bot lanes. This is the bot lanes I'm most excited to watch. It's going to be Marky and Rux versus Bipolar and Becky. Arguably the players that have been carrying these 2 teams. Bottom lane has been really carrying both of these teams so far in the GPL. But will it be enough? Whose bottom lane will be the better bottom lane? And how are the other lanes going to do? How's the side lanes going to do? JLC and Trevor haven't really had the best game so far today. They've been struggling to keep up to their respective laning counterparts. Will they be able to match Shiro? Will they be able to match RH? That's also something we need to consider.
And if we're going to talk about consistency for TME, it's crazy because, again, these are some of the worries that a lot of those that have been following TME's journey kind of manifesting in the GPL right now, wherein Trevor kind of falling back a lot in most of these games. Coop's not getting the optimal ganks that he can on those primary lanes. So as Marky, I'd say, has been doing substantially well, perhaps, but because of these fallbacks from across the board, it definitely gives him a harder time to really get to the hyper carry that we know Marky can be going into these games. But looks like, ladies and gents, we'll be heading into yet Game 7 of Day 1 of the group stage for the GPL 2017 summer season. Of course, this is between, once again, Philippine Pride Team Manila Eagles versus the Malaysian Pride Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and we do need to be careful as Caspiel versus Coop, something we haven't really touched up yet. Caspiel, arguably one of the better junglers in this tournament. I'd say behind Levi, possibly. I'd say top 2, top 3 in this tournament. He's a very impressive jungler with really good pathing. And Coops, he had problems against the Headhunter jungler. I believe it was Chris Kyle. So something that he needs to be careful of. Will he be able to regain his footing, show his Jarvan that we've seen time and time again in the pro gaming series? Or will it be a repeat of last game where he was just constantly getting out jungled?
And that's the tricky part right here, because with Coops, he's been one of the, I'd say, above average junglers in the Philippine scene. Not exactly one of the best, I'd say, but he definitely gets the job done as far as complementing the rest of Team Manila Eagles. But when you're entering the GPL, wherein you have a load of extremely talented junglers, which have been very essential to most of the wins that we've seen in the GPL thus far, Caspiel being one of those prime examples where he's been absolutely a pleasure to watch performing on the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, then that's definitely something you have to worry about, because if Coops, once again, as seen in most of these games, if he can't get those optimal ganks, then TME, they just struggle and struggle and struggle.
Yeah, and what's concerning to me is that Coops is struggling on his Jarvan. I mean, for the past 2 or 3 years, Jarvan and Coops have been synonymous to each other, where when you think of Coops, you think of his Jarvan. That's his favorite jungler. That's the jungler he's the most proficient at. And yet, the previous game was very concerning.
Then again, we couldn't blame it on Coops. It really has to be a collaborative team effort. And again, like I mentioned, as far as consistency, it's mostly been Marky and potentially to an extent Rox as the bot lane duo, but everybody else I'm yet to see really pull their weight to see something stellar, or not even just stellar, at least something optimal that would lead them to convincing wins for the Philippine squad. So that's just something we'll have to see if they can pull off against such a strong powerhouse like the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, who is looking impeccably awesome going into the GPL.
Yeah, and there is already early game trades going. Caspiel very aggressive on this Sejuani. He actually manages to take a camp away from Koops. Hasn't finished his red buff just yet. So that will reveal quite a bit in regards to Caspiel's pathing. They will know for a fact that he has to clear the red buff, and he'll either clear his Raptors afterwards or the Scuttle Crab. So that does give a lot of information for this TME side, allows them to play a bit more aggressive. But speaking of aggressive, RH has actually been the one dictating the pace of this laning phase so far. Not something you usually see in this Aurelion Soul Corki matchup. So this shows that Trevor not really familiar with how to lane against an Aurelion Soul, and this might be one of the advantages that KLH can use to win this game.
Definitely. And again, it's just whether or not that would lead TME to falling back once again, losing out on all advantages that they could potentially pick up in the early game, then that's definitely a worrying trend for the Philippine team here. But then again, it's good for KLH as well.
Yeah.
Because it's these hot picks that sometimes, this is what's interesting about champions that you don't normally see, but quickly played. Ooh, I have sold that thought right there though. Becky taking quite a bit of damage there from Marky and Rox. So
yeah, despite that trade there, it's actually Marky and Rox who are struggling in this bottom lane. Marky roughly down 10 CS, so he's been zoned out for the majority of this laning phase. There's not much you can do as this Janna. As the Janna lane, you want to just chill, farm what you can. You can't really go for the trades though, as the shield isn't really big enough to enable your AD carries just keep on going in, and the cooldown is quite long, so you can get punished if you're not careful. So expect TME to just have a slower start compared to before. But once Janna picks up that Ardent Sensor, that's when TME just turns on the Ghost Switch and they can make stuff happen.
Hopefully, assuming that they don't concur any casualties, that regardless of whether or not Janna reaches that point wherein she gets Ardent Sensor, that they are at a point wherein the damage, the help in order to really release the full potential damage of TME kind of falls back because of being kind of behind, which is hopefully not the case here. But then again, we just have to see.
Yeah, for sure. And let's see what happens next. TME going to recall in this bottom lane. CS has been restabilized, and it's going to be Becky who actually misses a decent amount of CS. Top lane wise, we do see that JLC has actually been doing a pretty good job of laning against this Rumble, so maybe a possible pocket pick for JLC to deal with Rumbles in the laning phase, as he doesn't seem to be struggling, and Rumble can trade pretty well once you're at that level 5, level 6. You gotta be careful.
Cut out, but actually manages to dodge away from the Aurelion. But looks like more action happening here in the top lane though. JLC gonna continue the chase onto Shiro. Shiro still at level 5 going up against a level 6. Sion though, knockup actually gonna connect once again. Will he be able to take him down though? No, that won't be the case, but here we go. Cassio actually managing to catch up Rocky and save Becky as well, getting some damage onto Marky. Like there's no tomorrow gets the stun, but looks like they'll have to be very, very careful.
And I really like this coming in from Caspiel. He's prioritizing shutting down Koops from entering that bottom side jungle, which in turn lets KLH play extremely aggressive and punish this Janna lane so hard. And that's exactly what you need to be doing when you're against this matchup. And Koops hasn't even touched a single Raptor or Trug camp of his own so far this game. So Caspiel's been doing a really good job of controlling Koops. Whenever those Raptors spawns, Caspiel's already there and contesting them.
There we go, a little bit of a small consolation for Koops right there by getting Caspiel's own Raptors. But yeah, good on Caspiel, because this has been a consistent trend that we've been seeing, wherein junglers from the enemy side that for TME, they just kind of want to choke out Koops to kind of downplay any opportunity that he can in ganking that he would be otherwise making up for by catching up in getting some farm on because of those potential denials. So we'll have to see if this will be a setback for Koops once again.
Speaking of denials, you see Caspiel already making moves to go towards this red buff. Pings are being made, so They do have an idea of where Caspiel might be, but they're not going to make any moves to respond to it. And Caspiel should be able to take this red buff away and just further shut down Coop, but he needs to be careful as he might get caught.
Oh,
wow,
actually,
that tornado.
But there we go. Caspiel still will be forced to use his splash to get out of there. But wow, good on Rocks there. Perfectly timed Gale there to get that knock up to cancel any escape.
Yeah, the Howling Gale forcing a flash out of Caspiel, and that's extremely important when you consider that Caspiel is approaching this level 6 mark. That's when his ganks are like the most potent, and not having that flash really hinders his ganking ability.
Indeed. So we'll just have to see. Potentially, this is something that Team Manila Eagles could capitalize on, knowing that this minimizes the potential plays that Caspiel could make, hitting that 6 mark with the Glacier.
Yeah, and going back to this bottom lane, Marky and Rocks are struggling so hard against Becky and Bipolar so far. There's a 20 CS deficit in this bottom lane. Marky not being able to farm up as much as he'd like to. And the problem as well is when you have this sort of matchup where you're being zoned out really hard, it shuts down the Janna really hard. She isn't able to safely collect the coins, which makes it she just falls behind as she isn't able to build the Ardent Center as fast as possible. And you see that's what Rocks wants to do. He wants to build the Ardent Center as fast as possible. He skipped. Ooh, that was an interesting interaction, yeah.
Denied though, but JLC trying to get the knock on the Caspiel does succeed though. That is going to be the equalizer, blocking away any escape. That forces TME to commit to this fight. First blood going to Shiro as Koops goes down.
Yeah, interesting decision by Koops. Going for the jungle invade without having vision, knowing that a lot of members had just recently recalled, and he got punished really hard. So no flash on Koops, no Cataclysm, and he will be dead. So that kill did go on to Shiro, and that's what you want. You want to get that damage as possible on Trevor. Be careful, man, as he's going to take a lot of damage in that middle lane. The trading between Trevor and RH hasn't really been optimal on the side of Trevor, so questionable.
Indeed, but Becky and Bipolar, they're gonna try to go for a flank. Will get knocked up, but no, actually doesn't. But regardless, doesn't cancel out the fact that they will get the kill onto Trevor.
And this is one of the problems. Again, this goes back to the bottom lane. This goes back to the nature of the Janna lane. If you go for the Ardent Sensor rush, but you're not in a position where you can freely collect those coins, your team's gonna fall so far behind, and here comes the teleport gang.
Play though, will it be successful? DLC gets knocked up on to the members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. That's gonna be a kill. RH goes down. TME tries to see if they could get any further kills. Becky just free hitting like a god, but Rocks manages to get a little bit of feel for his teammate. Shiro will be joining the party. A lot of damage being dealt by Marky there. Becky though manages to get the kill onto Koops as TME tries to see if they could catch any more members. Shiro getting knocked up though. TME releasing an onslaught of damage, manages to get the kill as Trevor takes it.
Yeah, so interesting trade coming in. I think that is in favor of TME, as TME does have the most healthiest members. They will be able to take this mid lane turret. And again, really good play coming in from TME, turning a bad situation into a good situation for them. And I was going on earlier about how if you fall behind in this bottom lane as a Janna, if you lose since you're not getting the Sightstone early, you lose a lot of bot lane control. And combined with the fact that Caspiel's been shutting down Koops, just really hurts the map. It allows the KLH side to just go for those mid lane ganks, like really disrespectful mid lane ganks right between the turrets. But good job on TME to turn it around. Really good teleport coming in from JLC, and it let's see exactly what happened. So JLC does go in, and this was a really long fight, really good knockup, followed into the tornado. They were knocked up for so long, and Marky, those feathers do a lot of work. And at this point, they just don't have the items to really do much damage to this KLH side. And as a result...
No, Shiro was a little bit confused there as to who he should start.
I think he forgot that he's only level 8. He doesn't have the Leandri's Torment yet, so he's not really doing much at this point. And you see another fight in the bottom lane.
Caspiel actually caught out in the Cataclysm. Becky will be joining those stun onto Caspiel and Bipolar to prevent any further attack onto the TME side. But looks like Kuala Lumpur Hunters very decisive on wanting to take this turret down, with RH actually going to be joining as well for that extra precaution. TME trying to defend as hard as they can, but Kuala Lumpur Hunters looks like they will be forced to back away without that wave though. But how long will this bottom lane turret stand exactly as yet another wave comes in? Trevor joins the party as well. They will have to be very careful though. Looks like folks are up for Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Across the board, knock them onto our head. Here comes Kumso, actually goes in, taking out a lot of damage though. Will be backing away. JLC actually manages to knock the Bipolar. Looks like Marky will be getting the kill onto Becky. Shiro joins the party as well. Equalizer in the middle. Tries to get as much damage as he can onto members of Team Manila Eagles. Caspiel very, very low. TME continues the chase. Will they be able to take anybody else down? Though no, unfortunately, but still, that will be a 1-0 in favor of Team Manila Eagles.
And again, a really good fight coming in from TME. And I have to commend Marky right there. His Featherstorm positioning was very solid. And the recall of the Feathers was what allowed them to get that easy kill. I believe onto Becky, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, another turret for TME, and that puts the gold slightly in their favor, roughly 1,000, and they're going for this Dragon, and it looks like KLH hoping for a response.
Very nice transition right there. This is what I've been talking about right here. Marky and Saya, it's like peanut butter and jelly for this AD carry coming in from the Philippines right here, and hopefully it will lead to better trends, because again, one of the beautiful things here is that aside from just the consistency right there, getting a lot of stunts at the same time, capturing the members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters off guard, very, very good. But still, it's very much early to tell whether or not this could be a build-up for TME, because there's still a lot of window of opportunity for Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
This is where TME starts to shine. If you take a look at Rox's items, he does have the Ardent Sensor already available, so Marky in the bottom lane to start to win these trades a lot more harder. We do see that Becky went for the Runan's Hurricane as his first item. Runan's Hurricane doesn't really do too much in that early game. It allows him to clear those waves pretty fast, but when it comes to those duels, especially when you're against a Janna, he's gonna fall behind. So
yeah, we'll just have to see. But nonetheless, for KLH, they are still a little bit of gold up because of that bottom lane turret take, outer turret. So looks like we'll just have to see. Still going too early, but Scoop actually going to go for the invade here onto the red buff of the Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Whether or not, looks like that will be a successful take. The Bipolar is within the vicinity, but Rox will be back to the left just in case, along with Shiro there now. But Rox, okay, I was kind of worried for them there a bit, but looks like they will be able to survive, and they will be going for this red card.
Yeah, so we do see that Trevor does have the package and Triforce available. Combine that with the Janna Shield and Guardian Sensor, Trevor's going to be doing a lot of damage this fight. If KLH decide to respond, they're going to instead trade the Rift Herald for this mid lane turret.
That's a very dangerous knockup onto Caspiel. Blue team does manage to get the Rift Herald, but looks like this will be a fight though. Caspiel manages to launch the Glacial Cushion onto TME. Rock's going to go for the kill, gets knocked up by Bipolar, and that is going to be the kill to Caspiel, though. They are continuing to chase. This might be deadly for Team Manila Eagles. Yet another casualty as JLC goes down. That's going to be 2-0 thus far, and along with that, a blue buff as a little bit of a consolation.
Yeah, so that was the Rift Herald, though, taken by TME, but was it worth 2 kills? For the Rift Herald, it depends on what KLH decide to do with this advantage. There are 2 members dead on the map, so they can afford to push this top, push this mid lane. That is what they're doing right now. Will they be able to get a turret, though? It looks like they will be able to get that mid lane turret. And with that mid turret possibly going down, I think that trade might have been in favor of KLH.
Indeed. And again, in order for TME to really make the most of those many casualties for that Rift Herald, make one of see, but looks like we have a fight here. Becky tries almost gets assassinated, but no, will be going down though. The Coombs nonetheless does. It's going to be 3 members continuing the chase onto Caspiel. Trevor himself is juggling onto Bipolar. Will be able to get the kill indeed. Caspiel caught in a very tight place and will be the next casualty as 3 members total of Kuala Lumpur Hunters go down without even taking the top turn.
Yeah, so that was a 2 for 3, I believe, in favor of TME. TME, of course, now still behind in gold due to the turrets finally catching up. The CS, if you take a look, is not in favor of TME. Becky doing a very good job of shutting down Marky so far. He is roughly 57 CS above Marky, and it looks like it might change though, as the Herald was popped in the top lane. And let's take a look at exactly what happened. Very aggressive plays coming in from Becky. Keeps walking forward, actually dodges Kutz's flag and drag combo. And he's just in the front line just doing lots of damage. Gets the easy kill onto Marky, but other than that, once Becky falls, they have no damage. Caspiel has no mana. That's just an easy cleanup for TME.
Man, very, very good for TME. But then again, they can't really keep on relying on these small skirmishes, I'd say. These small pickups where in KLH, I'd like to see a lot more proactivity from TME, as I feel like that would really propel them into gaining a more significant lead as to just capitalizing on these mistakes coming in from the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, whether it be overstays, mispositioning, such as.
Yeah, and they do have the tools to do so, as they do have that Scion, and if Scion's good at anything, it's engaging from really far distances and traveling parts of the map very fast. Same with Corki as well when you have that package. So lots of mobility coming in from this TME side. They even have that double teleport. It's just a matter of execution. Can they find those opportunities?
Indeed, that is the question, and we'll just have to see whether or not Team Manila Eagles can pull it off. But so far, I gotta say, this is definitely a step up for Team Manila Eagles in comparison to their previous 2 games, which were, in my opinion, quite sloppy across the board almost.
Yeah, Coops has definitely been doing a pretty good job, and here comes Engage onto Becky.
Knockup though, that is a lot of damage. Becky actually goes down. Will Bipolar be the next in line though? Caspiel will be going for the backup though. That is still very, very low health Bipolar, but still Marky will be joining us well along with Rock. Bipolar goes down and Marky gets the kill.
Yeah, and this Scion is doing work. JLC stepping up from his previous performances today, gets the solo 1v2 kill actually against Becky. And with that, it's TME with the momentum. They're going to be looking to take this turret. We do see that the Braum is dead, does not have that ultimate available. This is going to be a 4v2 scenario, but the teleport is there for Corki, so Trevor will be able to respond if a fight ever breaks out.
KLH though gonna go for the defense, forcing Team to back away, but looks like Trevor has his own agenda as he pushes out bot lane, but looks like that may be prevented by the arrival of Becky to stop any further progression from TME's mid laner right here, but we'll be seeing a fight.
Yeah, they do need to be careful as a lot of objectives are spawning right now. You have Baron spawning in 40 seconds with Dragon spawning in 10. And here's a chase onto Trevor. He has very little mana, but just enough to use that Valkyrie and escape.
Indeed, indeed. So this is where things do get tricky. Let's go ahead and check out what happened though.
I think Kalista wasn't expecting that amount of damage coming. Even Bipolar didn't commit to the ultimate just yet. And look at that burst. Becky didn't even get to move from his position through all that damage.
Indeed, I mean, that was a full charge, almost a full charge onto the Unstoppable Force, along with that follow through, but looks like, yeah, crazy. And good on Marky and Rocks to actually be within the vicinity as well for the follow-up. Because I don't think if JLC was just alone on that stage, it would have been with Becky that would have went down.
Yeah, but it's going to be KLH with the initiative. They were able to chase away Trevor from that bottom lane, which gave them priority over that Dragon. And with that, the Ocean Drake now in the hands of Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
Quite a shame though. That is, well, going into 20-minute mark, I'm expecting a lot more focus towards this top side, especially in terms of the vision loss here, because first Baron is going to be very dictative of what the potential flow of this game could be.
Yeah, if you take a look at the items real quick, you'll see that a lot of these players are looking to complete their second item right now. They're extremely close, and you probably want to see that JLC. And this has that Frozen Heart complete. You see Marky not really there yet with that static shift or possible rapid fire cannon. And Becky, of course, not yet to Blade of the Rune King. Once Becky gets to Blade of the Rune King, this is where KLH does become very strong, and he is recalling right now to pick that up, and just in time for that Baron as well.
Yeah, so that's going to be something that TME has to take into account right now, and whether or not they could actually get in onto Becky before they suffer the onslaught of damage themselves, because there's actually quite a number of good holding powers, whether it be coming in from Sejuani or even RH and Bipolar. So I guess it's just really a scenario where they really don't want to be lumped up in those clashes, wherein they take on the full CC of Kuala Lumpur Hunters. That'll just allow Becky to free hit them into oblivion.
Yeah, for sure. You see that JLC is pushing this bottom lane, does have that teleport available, is still holding on to the components for that Frozen Heart, so hasn't built it just yet. And with this Blade of the Rune King on Becky, you need to be careful, as that's a decent amount of damage that, if goes unchecked, can just really hurt this TME team.
Indeed. So there we go. Looks like Kuala Lumpur Hunters successfully gets their own amount of vision towards the Baron side. Again, it's all about the contention here at this point. Whoever gets better control, looks like Trevor in exchange using that control ward to take down the vision from the Baron off Kuala Lumpur Hunters. Just them basically checking.
Yeah, and I mean, it's double teleport still available, so if they want to go for a 1-3-1 and try to apply pressure this way, it is a possibility. They do need to be careful though. I believe the package is actually spawning soon for Trevor, so once he gets that, I feel like TME is going to pull that switch and try to contest that Baron.
Maybe, potentially. But nonetheless though, I'm still waiting for... Let's go ahead and check out Becky real quick though. 1, 3, and 4 on this Callista. So, but then again, especially with Blade of the Runes being along with Ruins up, it would potentially be easy for him now to not only get further assists, to get, you know, just to kind of fix out in comparison to Marky, who's 3-1-4 right now.
And I mean, you do have that Braum who can just block so much damage incoming towards this Callista. And we do see that Sejuani does have that Knight's Vow as well, so a lot of damage mitigation coming in for this Callista, allowing him to do the thing. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not TME can get the fights that they're looking for. They have lots of engage opportunities with this Jarvan and with this Sion.
Indeed. And I guess it's all a matter of making sure that TME themselves don't get caught off by any form of CC, any form of lockdown actually, coming in from the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, which would rather be deadly. In which case, even going into the fights, like, so long as TME can kind of weave around any lockdowns from KLH, I believe that they should be fine, but then again, we just have to see, because as of these previous games that we've seen from Team Manila Eagles, they haven't been the best at positioning in team fights thus far, which allowed the other teams, such as Young Generation and even Headhunters to an extent, to really capitalize on those mistakes from Team Manila. So we'll just have to see. Caspiel, though, getting in at this control ward once again. It's just a back and forth trade-off vision here.
So KLH now looking to push this mid lane turret. We do see that there hasn't really been much action going on so far. Both teams don't want to overcommit to something and get punished for it, but it looks like
teleport. Though Group's actually managing to get Cataclysm onto RH. Or so, he will be flashing out the stun though onto Cook, but here we go. JLC actually going to be going in. Equalizers kind of spreads TME out, but looks like they will be going for the offensive though. Knockup onto the members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, who will be the first to fall. Trevor now on a killing spree manages to take down RH, but Coops is down in exchange as TME continues to chase. A lot of damage. There we go. Double kill. Make that the triple kill for Trevor. Comeback is real for this mid laner. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem with this KLH team composition is if you blow the Sejuani ultimate, if you blow the equalizer from Rumble, you don't have much to deal with, and they burnt those spells way too early into the fight, and that just allowed TME with their sustained damage in the Corki and in the Sash just clean up that fight, and this is going to be the Baron. There isn't much they can do to contest it. They don't have Koops alive, so Caspiel does have an opportunity to steal it, possibly. Bipolar will fall, and Trevor, he's still hunting for Caspiel, and he has been spotted by a ward, so he's probably going to die. Is he going to make that miracle play and steal that Baron? We'll have to see.
There you go. Looks like members of TME will converge onto him to prevent any smite steal, but I don't think they can handle the last 1,000 damage. Is anybody going to be going down? Very dangerous. Looks like JLC will be going down, but one for the team. They do secure that Baron.
So that's definitely in favor of TME right there. They get that Baron onto 4 members, and I believe they picked up roughly 3 kills. Let's take a look at exactly what happened. We see Caspiel, he initially uses his ultimate onto Koops. Koops, that's not a priority target. They use it to disengage, but the disengage is not enough. And you see the equalizer again, another disengage tool. But for some reason, they're still fighting in this choke point, and they just get punished as they don't have their strong CC lockup. And it's the same damage, like we said, coming in from Trevor, coming in from Marky. And you see that Monsoon from Rock. That's actually very important in that fight, as that procs Ardent Sensor onto every single member of the team squad, providing them the extra attack speed and the healing per hit.
Oh man, this might be TME's chance finally. And I would actually be surprised because, you know, if you're going to look at a lot of
I mean, everyone's beating everybody at this point if TME wins. KLH managed to beat Young Generation. Young Generation beat TME, and now TME looking to beat Kuala Lumpur Hunters. We've gone full circle.
Indeed. Cataclysm, though, going to be pushed out for Cook, though. Glacial Prison actually doesn't hit a target, and that'll be TME managing to get the kill onto Caspiel.
Yeah, another pick onto Caspiel, and they still have those 4 Baron buffs available. Looks like they're going to be looking to push this mid lane. Trevor's still in the top lane, hasn't used that teleport. Actually used the teleport in the top to try to pick Becky, but wasn't successful. Holding onto that package, and Marky, another pick in the mid lane. And I think at the pace at TME is going, this should be their game. They have the full momentum. It's going to be really hard to get that tempo break down and just swing it back in KLH's favor, as TME, they're just getting pick after pick. KLH is losing their composure, and they're dying one by one.
Looks like that'll be yet another turret, though. TME will be switching course, though, as Trevor actually on it in the top lane. Marky as well, getting, look at the damage, though, dueling it out. Both the support rather in AD carry goes in. Wow, fearless Marky double kill. Actually, as TME continues to go for the push, Trevor actually goes in. Arhedge might be the next casualty here. Trevor continuing the chase as well as Marky gets the kill. Trevor now legendary, and this will be an inhibitor turret along with the inhibitor itself. Are they going to try to close out the game, though?
Insane playmaking coming in from Marky, enabling to get this inhibitor, and now they're looking for those Nexus turrets. Their goals to engage. Will they be able to end the game right here and right now?
Oh no, looks like Caspiel trying to see what he can. Shiro, the only surviving member of the Kuala 400 Bipolar, now is up. The will they be able to prevent this? That's going to be very tricky, though. JLC actually, even if they take them down, JLC actually has the power to close out the game, but that doesn't matter. Congratulations, Team Manila Eagles taking this game against the Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
TME taking down the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, who were considered one of the favorites to make it to the next stage of the groups, but TME, they just obliterated KLH, and this kind of exposes a bit of KLH's flaws. They seem to be a very tempo-reliant team. We saw in Young Generations, if they have that lead, they can snowball it to a victory, but if they lose that victory, if they're struggling, then they struggle extremely hard. And I think we even saw this coming into the TLC finals when they were up against Eternal, I believe it was Eternal Envy, something along those lines. And that's concerning for this KLH team, but very well played for TME. They are still in contention for the top two going into the semifinals.
Man, I don't know. I think a lot of the criticism that Trevor might have gotten off of those previous two games, it's like suddenly the switch is flicked on in. I don't know where that came from. I was actually expecting that Trevor might have struggled, but might have potentially even gotten tilted off of the games, but still coming in very, very strong. Congratulations. That was very impressive indeed to Team Manila Eagles. Of course, very well played as well to the Kuala Lumpur Hunters, who actually did pretty well during the earlier phases of the game. But nonetheless, ladies and gents, that has been Game 7. We have quite a day ahead as we head into our final game, which is actually coming up next. Once again, we have been your casters, Arctic Atio Service Fam, and of course with me, Sneep. We'll be back for its summer 2017 season of the Garena Premier League group stage. Stay tuned. Shiro will be joining the party. A lot of damage being dealt by Marky there. Becky, though, manages to get the kill onto Coop as TME tried to see if they could catch any more members. Shiro getting knocked up, though. TME releasing an onslaught of damage, manages to get the kill as Trevor takes it. Make one of three, but looks like we have a fight here. Becky tries almost to get assassinated, but no, will be going down, though. The Coops nonetheless does. It's going to be three members continuing the chase onto Caspiel. Trevor himself is juggling onto Bipolar. Will be able to get the kill indeed. Caspiel caught in a very tight place and will be the next casualty.
Looks like
Teleport, though. Coops actually manages to get Tycoon off the RH. Of course, though, he will be flashing out the stun, though, onto Coops. But here we go, JLC actually going to be going in. Equalizers kind of spreads TME out, but looks like they will be going for the offensive, though. Knock up onto the members of Kuala Lumpur Hunters, who will be the first to fall. Trevor now on a killing spree, manages to take down RH, but Coops is down in exchange as TME continues to chase. A lot of damage. There we go, double kill. Make that the triple kill for Trevor. Come back, Marky, double kill. Actually, as TME continues to go for the push, Trevor actually goes in. RH might be the next casualty here. Trevor continuing the chase as well as Marky gets the kill. Trevor, Shiro, the only surviving member of the Kuala 400 Bipolar, now is up. The will they be able to prevent this? That's going to be very tricky, though. JLC actually, even if they take them down, JLC actually has the power to close out the game, but that doesn't matter. Congratulations, Team Manila Eagles taking this game against the Kuala Lumpur Hunters.
TME taking down the Kuala Lumpur